Moving on, let's move on to the prepared speeches. And for the first speech by who's the first speaker?
Toastmaster
Toastmaster
Lois.
Lois. Okay, Toastmaster Lois. Let's hear it from our hibernating Toastmaster, our distinguished Toastmaster, Dolly de los Reyes. Go ahead, Toastmaster Dolly.
Hello, good afternoon once again. Toastmaster Lois, how are you? Yeah, you're feeling
I'm
great,
good.
right? I'd like to thank you for sharing your personal story with us today and also for sharing some insights about how we could win from within, especially about the steps that you have shared with us, the steps to transform daily. Now, for your evaluation for today, I would like to use the pattern provided by Pathways. So that would be where you excelled at, where you may want to work on, and where to challenge yourself. Now, let's start. First one, where you excelled at. Let me share with everybody that I noticed that you were using the SMG as your speech pattern because you started with your story after your brief introduction or question hook. So with that SMG pattern, you're also able to skillfully provide specific examples that support each suggested step. For instance, you mentioned to us that we may want to try learning something new, such as reading. And aside from reading, it would be very apt for us to be reminded about taking new roles or club hopping, right, in Toastmasters. You also mentioned personal development such as blogging. Second area that where you excelled at is the way you ended your conclusion. You ended with a punchline, and that was when you said having a great day is a choice to make. After everything that you shared with us, it's still about us, about the choices that we make. Now, moving forward, allow me to share with you, based on what I have observed, a couple of areas that you may want to work on for your future speeches. The first one is you may want to consider clearly defining your key points. Yes, you started with a personal sharing, but after that one, I noticed that you were trying to share with us some steps to transform daily, or that would help us be more committed to our daily transformation. Now, how do you do that? Just well, I noticed five. Was it five or four steps that you wanted us to take note, right? Just clearly define those points after giving your introduction. And the second, it would be minor this time, the use of transitions. Maybe some observable or noticeable transition devices like first, second, next, moreover, furthermore. That would somehow help your audience clearly follow through. They would think about whether this is the next step or an explanation, a further explanation about the previous step. Okay, now for your area, one area that I feel that you may have to challenge yourself at is this: clearly hit the specific speech objective. The objective is, the common objective or the main objective is to share about an unusual or unexpected topic. So for me, I believe that it is subjective. I personally love self-development or personal development topics. For some of the audience, this may be unexpected or unusual for them. But just basing on what I feel or what I have felt, maybe it could have been a topic that may be pretty unusual for everybody, for the intended audience. And another minor addition is to show more confidence by increasing enthusiasm. How do you do that? Look at the camera as if you're speaking at the audience, at someone or with someone face to face, and maybe or perhaps add more audience engagement by throwing questions that they may silently answer. So that's all for today. That's all about your speech. I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart because I was reminded about some of the things, especially when it comes to transforming myself. I am sure that the audience also learned a lot from you. Congratulations for successfully delivering your speech. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Toastmaster Dolly, for your evaluation of Loy's speech. And that is the reason why DTM Dolly, we miss you so much in this club. We miss your evaluations and we want to hear you always. So please, if you can, make it a habit of again joining the club and attending. And I agree very much, very well, Toastmaster Dolly, with your evaluation. Your evaluation was very specific. You answered the questions that is provided by the Pathways Evaluation Resource, and that is one way of making sure that there are no stones unturned, so to speak, so that your evaluation will be comprehensive and extensive for the speaker. Would also agree that well, that the as far as the topic is concerned, I think Toastmaster Lois really address the objective of the project. I too was expecting something unusual for an unfamiliar audience because that is what was being asked for, especially for objective. But luckily for Pathways, we can choose essentially what we want as topics. In fact, that's the leeway that Toastmaster gives. It could be informational, it could be humorous, or whatever, and you get to choose. It's just if, for instance, Toastmaster Lois, you have a topic that you alone would know, that is the challenge for this kind of speech because you'd want to engage the audience so that you can get their attention because they are not familiar with that topic. So if that's the area of improvement that we can put on, that would be it. It's the, shall we say, it's the unfamiliarity with the topic. And I also, this is the bane of online meetings when Toastmaster Dolly spoke about eye contact because naturally our instinct is to look at the audience, but not really at the camera, not really with an inanimate object, but let us try to practice, make it a habit to always look at the camera because essentially that's how the audience will perceive us, especially in an online meeting. Congratulations to our evaluator Dolly and to the speaker Lois Banez. Now let's move on to the next speech. And the next speech was delivered by Porsche Maliksi, an intro to Toastmaster mentoring. And to give the evaluation for Porsche, let's me call on one of the pillars for the MicroSpeak Toastmasters Club, a pillar, a member, and an active officer, and currently area director that we call on the evaluator, Daniel Gorospe. Take the floor, Daniel.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator Les, and thank you very much for Jude Ola for inviting me to this Saturday's meeting with BF Community Toastmasters Club. It's always a pleasure to visit BF. I think I last visited BF back in 2017. That's why when Toastmaster Ching gave that journey for her journey towards the completion of her path, I was able to recall some of the events in her life. Of course, we're talking about Porsche this time, Porsche Maliksi, your Vice President of Public Relations. Porsche, congratulations on your mentoring speech project. There are two stories here, the story of your mom and your personal story. And every one of us has their mother as their first mentor, first coach, first angel, right? The first God that we see in our lives. And I'm also impressed because your mom is here, also a member of BF community. As what Patricia mentioned earlier, you're a whole brood here. There's Patricia, there's Porsche, and there's Mommy Lilia. And I can say that it's very impressive to have a mother like that, very encouraging, relentlessly overachieving, and good cook. one of the benefits that this pandemic brought upon the Maliksi family. And in fact, when I was given the speech project by Toastmaster Jude Ola earlier today, I was thinking, who could be the mentor of Porsche? And I was guessing it could be her mother. It could be her mother. And I was right. Perhaps I read my horoscope today and I predicted it very well. So congratulations on that. What are the things that you did very well today? First, I like the oral quality of your voice. The diction was great. The vocal variety was there during the transition between the stories of your mom and your story. You slowed down a little bit for the audience to capture the story or the essence of the story. You had gestures, you had hand gestures that are very measured. It was not distracting to the audience. It was not very busy. And the organization went very well because you transitioned from your mom, her achievements, your struggles in school in UST, about giving up, about your mom encouraging you to go on and proceed with your thesis or your presentation to the school. And towards the end, it was a successful endeavor on your part because there was a struggle, there's a full story. So you excelled on those portions. Now, how can I help you improve your speech further or your project or your delivery later on in your pathways journey? First of all, I noticed like what was mentioned by Toastmaster Les, it's difficult in a virtual world because sometimes we're looking at the person in the screen. I noticed that your eyes were hovering above the camera and then you will switch between up and down, up and down. It was, on that part, for me, it was distracting because I felt that you were not very personal, you were not very personal with your story. Of course, the solution here is to come up with practice yourself with looking straight at the camera, which I'm also guilty of because sometimes I look at the person that was pinned on my Zoom session. That's one. And number two, I thought that you could have developed your story further in such a way that at the end of the speech, you could summarize 2 to 3 points that your great mother delivered or your great mother influenced you in your life. You could summarize that as 1, 2, 3. Why is that important? Because we believe that one of the key takeaways for the audience is the lesson learned towards the end. And of course, what a great mother that you have there. It's also a way of praising her. For a while, I was hoping that you would mention the winning piece that you had during the HOT tournament or HOT tournament last year. You also had struggle there, and I believe that your mom, the lifelong lesson that you learned from your mom, mattered during that time because there was a struggle, you didn't give up, and finally you succeeded. So those are my key points. Let me just summarize. Great oral quality. It's a full story. It's something you can work on. You can develop that further by summarizing a top 3 in the end, and that entails giving a few more stories towards your speech. Congratulations, Porsche, and congratulations to your mom, and congratulations also to Patricia, because I know this is a brood here, and you are developing yourselves as Toastmasters. Perhaps your mom can be an area director next year. Who knows? That's one of my predictions. Let's see if my horoscope will hold up. Back to you, our general evaluator, Toastmaster Les.
Thank you, Toastmaster Daniel, for your evaluation for Toastmaster Force. And I agree with most of what you said in your evaluation regarding Toastmaster Force. And I'm glad also that you took note about this brood of the Maliksi mother and daughter team who joined the BF community in a brood. It's a dynasty. So very rare that you see a 3 or more member in a club. It's usually 2 members, but that's about it. So for a 3-member family in a BF community, that's like an oligarch. So I also agree with most of the topics, and I also agree that I think Toastmaster Porsche could have extended it a bit. In fact, when she said, let's appreciate others, I was thinking, how did Porsche appreciate or show her appreciation for mom, for all the sacrifices and for the inspiration? So I was waiting for that. Another thing, and this is probably one thing that Toastmaster Daniel missed, incredible attention getter that Toastmaster Force used. And this attention getter was at the start when she said, have you heard of a 3-year-old who could, because something that's incredible as that is an attention getter for in my book. So I really like that. The hook at the right at the start. So that was quite an attention getter for Toastmaster Porsche. It is very impressive. Toastmaster Daniel, it's been 2017. That was a long, long time ago. And I personally request our VP Ed again to invite you maybe next time to be the GE. So because 2017 is a long time ago, right, Toastmaster Daniel? So congratulations to Toastmaster Daniel as well as Toastmaster Force in this project. A round of applause. Now, for the third speech, we had Toastmaster Ching on her Toastmaster story. And to evaluate Toastmaster Ching, let me call on Area Director Ed Ramirez. Go ahead, Toastmaster Ed.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. Past Area Director Ching, I am really happy to be your evaluator for today. I'd like to congratulate you for actually completing this path presentation mastery. Here are some things that I like about your presentation. You started with a quote, and then you proceeded with a question. Really a unique way of opening your speech. You engaged the audience with a nice story that we could all relate to. I noticed as you revealed your story, you also took the time to explain a jargon which you used, which is the Triple Crown Award. And then I noticed that you effectively made use of this rectangular universe. Okay, you demonstrated gestures in a way that we could all see. Okay, and towards the end, you shared your lessons learned. Really great performance. Now, you are a contestant, and therefore, I will challenge you. Okay, in your story, I noticed that you revealed 3 characters, but didn't develop these characters. Who are they? Your boss, your mentor, Dolly, and your second good-looking mentor, past area director, Les. Who were these people to you? You may want to transform your ordinary story into a struggle story. For example, you could say, Ching, I want you to deliver that presentation in Germany. My God, do you have a boss like that who's really challenging you? I got really scared. I needed to join Toastmasters. So in that way, you created this tension with the boss who was really a person who would assuage your capabilities, and which is why you decided to join Toastmasters. In that way, we could feel the tension growing in you. And then you bring in the master Yodas in your life. Past division director Dolly. How was she as a mentor to you? You may want to say, Ching, feel the force when you deliver your presentation. So you may put in dialogues like that to create this character of your mentor. How about Tito Les? What did he say to you? Ching, put your mind and focus in your presentation. Okay, and so on and so forth. In this way, you create this tension by developing these characters. And in the end, you might want to say, and one day I found myself in front of the, the German crowd. And thanks to the people around me, I was able to deliver that presentation. So in that way, we can feel that liberating force that Toastmasters gave you. But overall, I think you did a good job. Congratulations on presentation mastery. I look forward for you to get your DTM this term. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Evaluator Ed, and thank you for your evaluation, which I thought was really on point on the speech of Ching. And I agree with Toastmaster Ed. Everything, well, almost everything that I could think of was there. The learnings, the beginnings, the achievements. It's like a halo with everything that you like, everything that you'd like to expect. It's all there. It's all there. And I think it was a wonderful, wonderful story that Ching gave us. It was heartwarming. It's very inspiring. It was very motivational, especially for the new ones. And the well, I would have wanted to say to Ching to probably increase the gestures a little more. But you know what, Toastmaster Ching, when I was writing my notes down, I realized that the extensive vocal variety that you have, the vocal inflection is always there. That I would always stick to listening to you, even though I was writing my notes. I mean, the vocal variety was that good. The way you deliver your speeches is always that good. The vocal inflection, the speech. And when you said that you had this notion to look again, please, Toastmaster Ching, when you have the temptation to leave BF community, just again, look again so that you will never leave us because we really need you. We love you. We love your evaluations. Hey, you didn't become evaluation champion for Division H for nothing. So we also love the evaluation. Toastmaster Ed, I like that you highlighted the way Toastmaster Ching also came up with the defining triple crown award for the benefit of our guests. I like the evaluation. I like the speech. Congratulations, Toastmaster Ching and Toastmaster Ed. A round of applause to everyone.